Come on, TV, give me some of that sweet, sweet pep.
After 10,000 years, I'm free!
Yes!
Look up there!
That's not possible.
I've seen that guy somewhere. On TV.
Hello Marvel Legends, this is all a little bit different, but I wasn't planning to do a video today. I was going to give myself a nice little relaxing day off. In fact, I'll walk you through my evening. I had my dinner, did a little meditation, got very zen, had a nice little cup of green tea, just about to go to bed, and I thought, oh, you know what, it's Wednesday, new comic day. I'm going to read King in Black. Issue 1, the first part of the Venom event that's been built up for the last 2 years or so, and I've been excited for it. But I always forget when like new comic day is, and suddenly it hit me. It's like, oh hey, yeah, King in Black. Let's have a read. And I'm going to take my glasses off because we're getting glare. Oh my giddy lord! I have not done like comic book reviews on this site. That's not what this is about, but I gotta talk to someone about King in Black because this thing, just the first issue, all right guys, spoilers, okay? Spoiler warning, all right? If you don't wanna hear anything about King in Black, then get out, okay? Because I gotta talk about some spoilers here. This event, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman have been killing it on Venom for the last 2 years, and this is just, it's very rare that I'll read a comic book. Normally when I read comic books, I'm like, okay, just, you know, I read it as quickly as possible to like just get the story details and get to the end. This, I was savoring every page and every beat, and I cannot believe that the amount of times this comic actually made me go, whoa! Like, I don't do that. No one does that. Who does that? Who actually reads comics like a person in a film where they're like, whoa, no way. No, I was the surprises and the splash pages and the reveals. I was like, oh, what? Seriously? Okay, so long story short, King in Black is all about Null, the god of the symbiotes, coming to Earth to take it over and destroy it. That's long story short. And it is a long story, but that's essentially it. So this first chapter of the story plays out like the final chapter. It plays out like the end. So they're opening with the ending, and what an ending it is. So basically all the Avengers are on standby. Venom's told them, Null's coming, he's gonna wreck shop, you all better be ready. And they have like their first and last lines of defense all set up, and basically a fleet of gigantic symbiote dragons swarms on Earth. And first of all, Tony Stark, being Tony Stark, he's like, don't worry, your boy's got this here. Huge, big, outer space planetary defense system. Boop, no. They cut through it like butter. So they all land on Earth. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of symbiote dragons, and just blanket the planet in like just symbiote goo and start taking over, and the Avengers are trying to fight them off. And Eddie Brock, his master plan is to connect to the Hive. There's a thing, I won't go into details, but he can connect to the Hive, and he's like, if I can connect to the Hive, then maybe I can take over the symbiotes and control them, and we can, you know, take this weapon away from Null. He connects to the Hive, and this, I love these little moments where it's like a line and you're like, oh, what is it? And then they pay it off instantly, no messing around. So Eddie Brock connects to the Hive, and he suddenly goes, oh, like panic. He's like, guys, we're effed. he says like, it's not Null, or like Null is not the thing that we need to worry about. And so like instantly you're reading it like, you're like, what? Like Null has been built up as like the ultimate big bad of the universe. It's like, wait, if it's not Null, then what is it? And then you flip to the splash page and it's symbiote celestials coming down, Celestials covered in symbiotes, and it's like, what's that line from Bad Boys? Shit just got real. Yeah. If they were wearing their glasses, the Avengers would have been like, you gotta be kidding me. So symbiote Celestials land on Earth, and out steps Null, and he's like, do you like what I've done with the place? And this is like, so that was my first, the splash page with the Celestials coming down, I was like, whoa! It's like, friggin' Celestials! But the whole build up to this, Captain America and the Avengers and Brock and Tony Stark, they've all been saying, we got the big gun. We got the big gun, blah, blah, blah. We've got this, we've got that, and then if all else fails, we got the big gun. So when the Celestials could come down, this was so freaking, like, you can see how excited I get just talking about it. Null comes out, he's like cock of the walk, he sort of steps off of the Celestial and he's like, your boy's here, daddy's home, all right, so you all are effed in the A. And Captain America is like, you think so? Well, actually, there was a cool line. I think he said like, normally when someone like you shows up at Earth, we're the last thing you guys see, but this time, we're just gonna watch. And he's like, Tony, send in the big gun. And we pan up, and it's the Sentry. I was like, oh, because I'm a huge Sentry mark. The Sentry is my boy. We haven't seen Bob Reynolds for a long time. And it's like, oh, it's the Sentry. Oh, shoot. In case you're not familiar with the Sentry is Superman. He has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. And Null is the god of the abyss and darkness. And the Sentry has the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. So it's like, oh, you're in trouble now. So it's like, what's that line from Avengers, where when Mark Ruffalo's like, oh, you're in trouble now, when Thor turns up. Same feeling. So like, Sentry just grabs Null, whoops him up into space, and so that was my like second, oh my god moment. But it doesn't last long, because Null says like, oh yeah, Sentry, I remember you from our hive mind. Yeah, you're the guy who took Carnage up into space and ripped him in half. Yeah, I didn't take kindly to that. And he grabs Sentry, because you realize then that Null isn't just Null. He's not just the king of darkness. He is darkness. And the one weakness Sentry has is the void inside him. Guess what the void is? Yeah, it's darkness. So Sentry is grabbed by Null, and he's like, wait, no, don't do this. Like, if you do this, you'll release the void. Like, you can't, don't do this. And Null's like, nah, this is happening. And Null rips the Sentry in half. Remember back in the Siege storyline when Sentry was the big bad and he lifts up Ares and he rips Ares in half? Yeah. As Justin Timberlake said, what goes around comes around, because it's a recreation of that splash page with Null ripping open the Sentry and like the black void spilling out, and Null's like, yeah, you did release the void, and guess what? I'm the king of the abyss of darkness, bitch. I am the void. Oh! I was like, that was number 3. That was number 3 of like, oh my god. So that was the moment that made me think, okay, I gotta come on and do a synopsis right here, because this is amazing. And like, we've almost hit the 10-minute mark, so I'm gonna kind of leave it at that. But that's where we sort of wrap up this first issue with basically, it's like the ending of the big story, and the good guys have lost. Like, so then Null, just to put a nice little bow on his victory, envelops the entire globe in symbiote, blocking out the sun. So everyone is encased in darkness. They've lost. Eddie Brock tries to communicate with Null. Null like whoops him up into the air, rips his symbiote off him, says, I'm here for your son, Chuck, and drops him. And that's where we leave it. Whew. And we still got 4 parts to go. And that's just like, oh, I am so psyched to read the rest of this story. Also, nice little aside, before things really got terrible, the Avengers and all the heroes are trying to fight off the symbiotes when it looks really bleak, the X-Men turn up to save the day. And Charles Xavier's like, oh, well, you've been doing your pitiful things, but the X-Men are here now, so, sit back. And yeah, they get pwned. The X-Men get pwned, and it's so deliciously satisfying, because I can't stand the X-Men. Not the current writing of the X-Men. 90s X-Men always have my heart, but current X-Men, they can do one. So guys, that was the first issue of King in Black, and oh me, yeah, it is so good. If you even have a passing interest in reading like modern comics, go read this, because it is the bee's knees. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Perfect 10 minutes, guys. Till next time, keep displaying model behavior. Cheers.